This video will show you how to replace the battery on a Pontiac Grand Prix. This will be located along the front of your engine compartment. Let's get into it. Okay friend, let's get started on our job. Now we have to be able to gain access to the battery and be able to remove it from this area, so we're looking along the top of the battery. Now we're going to have to remove this cross member. Along the front, you'll find that you have two 13mm headed bolts, and along the rear, one 13mm headed mounting bolt. Let's start our removal process. Now typically, once you loosen this rearward mounting bolt enough, you should be able to pivot this cross member. You're going to find that you have an electrical wiring harness down along the bottom. There's a plastic clip. Let's dislodge that next. I'm using a small pocket screwdriver. You could use a pick. Let's continue on to the negative battery terminal. For the negative battery terminal, we're using a 13mm for our hardware. We're going to loosen this just enough that we can remove the terminal end from the battery post. Now we'll take hold of the terminal end, we'll give it a wiggle and lift it up and away from the battery. Just a close inspection of that. We will be cleaning it prior to installation. For now, I'm going to set it aside. Repeat the process for the positive battery terminal next. On my application, I'm using a 13mm here as well. A little twist, lift it up and off of there. We'll clean this during installation, but for now, let's set it aside. Now we're making our way to the battery hold down on the inboard side of the battery. Looking down along this area of the battery is where we can see our battery hold down. I'm using a 13mm for my mounting bolt. We can remove that hold down as well. Now at this point, you should be able to move the battery around, but you're going to find it's fairly difficult to lift it up and out of this small port. To gain a little bit more access, let's dislodge our fuse box. Just pull this wiring down. Up along the top of the fuse box, up on the strut tower, you're going to find two 11mm mounting nuts. These nuts are holding down the plastic apparatus. Now we should be able to take hold of this. We'll lift it up. We should be able to move it around a little bit. Now this is going to give us just a little bit more room in this area. Obviously, I don't want to disconnect any wiring harnesses or anything, but I do want to have just a little bit more space to work. As we start lifting the battery up and out, you're going to have to gently tilt it. Be aware of any fluid inside of the battery. Don't get any on your skin. Remove that fuse box. There it is, friend. Now, prior to installing a battery, of course, we want to make sure we clean and inspect the mounting area. So we're looking down at the base. Now in this area, of course, you do want to try to clean up any miscellaneous debris that might be raised and cause an issue with the installation of the battery, but the main focus of attention is where the mounting bolts would sit. Let's go ahead and clean that down. I'm going to use a wire brush. A little bit of rust is okay. Just make sure you can see the threads. This looks good. Now we can clean our terminal ends. I'm starting with the positive. You can clean whichever one you want first. I'm using my battery brush. We'll go inside this port. Make sure you remove any coating or corrosion. This looks good. I'll set it aside. Repeat the process for the next. That looks good as well. Now let's have a close look at the battery. We're going to be cleaning our battery post with our battery brush. That one looks good. That looks good as well. Let's get ready to install the battery. We will have to tilt it. Let's make sure none of the fluid on the inside makes its way out. Once you feel as though you have it rested all the way down, we're going to press it as far as we can in this direction. There we are. With that battery set in position, it's time for our battery hold down and battery hold down bolt. We'll slide it straight through there. Now we can align this with its port down on the battery tray. We'll start in the mounting hardware and snug it up. Make sure there's no movement from the battery. Nice. Let's resecure the fuse panel in place. We'll bring that into position. Start on each piece of 11mm headed hardware and snug them up. Make sure there's no movement from that. Now it's time for our battery terminal ends. We're starting with the positive battery terminal. Press that on as far as possible, tighten the hardware. I'm using my 13mm. Double check to make sure that's secured in place. Continue on to the negative battery terminal next. Same process for this. Just go ahead and line it up, press it on as far as possible, and make sure it's tight. Okay, bottomed out. And it's secure. Now we have our crossover tube. Start in that front hardware. The rear hardware is already started in. We left it loose. Now we can tighten all three pieces of hardware. Make sure there's no movement from that. Let's continue on with our electrical wiring harness. So we have our plastic clip down along the bottom of this. You can spin this any direction you like. Let's line it up, press it together. After that audible click, just make sure it's secured in place. Okay, friend, we finished the installation of our vehicle's battery. The next thing you want to do is make your way inside the passenger compartment. Attempt to start the vehicle several times, confirming everything's secured properly. Aside from that, you can close the hood and take your vehicle for a road test. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.